Welcome to Right on the Money, this week's edition, and every edition brought to you by Tom Mosley. It is so wonderful to see you again this week, Tom.
Always good to see you.
So, as promised, nothing's really changed. Inflation is still on the rise. It's kind of the perfect storm. Even bonds aren't doing well. Stocks and bonds both giving us some grief. I think people's number one fear is running out of money in retirement. What's
it is
the journey?
Survey after survey after survey says that it's more important to people. One survey was a leading university on the East Coast, and they did it about 8 years ago, and they said that 58% people 58 years of age and older, that their number one fear was running out of money. Number two was dying. I mean, they fear it more than dying.
Wow.
The good news is we're living a long time.
Yeah, is that good?
Yeah, well, I think it is, because they're able to keep us alive. But what happens is, when you live a long time, and then we don't have the pensions like our parents had to the same degree, and we don't have historically great savings accounts right now, and people are coming along with their 401ks, and then so much turmoil in the market and other things that you get to retirement, and during that accumulation phase, you focus on one thing. You focus on your lump sum. How much do I have? I mean, guys, you know, you've been to parties, or you've been around with your friends, or you've been on the golf course on the 19th hole, and you've started talking, and you guys started talking about what you're saving for retirement, and you probably made a statement, oh, yeah, well, I just passed $400,000 in my 401k. It's all talk about a lump sum.
Right.
And here's the really thing that you got to understand too, though. Even that $400,000 that's in your 401k for your retirement, you can't spend it.
Why?
Because every penny that comes out of a 401k has to be taxed. You can't spend 401k money. You've got to spend after-tax money. So any money that comes out of your 401k or an IRA or any of those qualified plans that aren't Roth-oriented, you've got to pay the tax on them. So you may be thinking you've got $400,000, but you don't.
You have a silent partner, Uncle Sam.
Oh, and he married Aunt Iris, and they're even worse together. You know what I'm saying? She spells her name IRS. You know what I'm talking about? I was teaching a college class on campus at 𝗧cie College in Walnut about 10 years ago now. And I mentioned in the class, I said, if you've got $400,000 in a 401k and your lump sum, it's not all your money. I thought this little bitty lady was going to jump over. Yeah, she was like, what do you mean? I saved all that money. My company never matched. She's got a partner in her lump sum. And that lump sum, not only can your partner change the rules, which they do,
that's right,
and they will. They're working on a bill now to change the rules on your accumulation, your lump sum. But what happens to your lump sum if it's in the market? Tell me about it for this year, for the first 10 months. Market's down, what, 15, 20, 25%, 30 maybe, and we don't know if the end is in sight. Probably have a little bit of a break in the clouds here for an election, but who knows what's going to happen after November.
And let's look at the proof in the pudding. They just hired 89,000 new IRS employees, doubling their workforce in the IRS. Where do you think they're going to come get that money from? Not the 700 billionaires in the world, in the country, from us, the middle class, the hardworking folks.
Well, they're going to say they're not, okay, because they have to politically to say they're not. But there's depending on what report you read, there's between 72 and 80 trillion dollars in retirement plans that's never been taxed.
There you go.
I mean, they're salivating. They're like Pavlov's dog. They're sitting there salivating. That's your lump sum. But the biggest thing is, how do I take it out, and how do I to take that in retirement and I move that over into income? And I've told the story of a guy who came to me and became a client a few years ago. And I always ask this in my class on tax. So if you come to one of my tax classes because you get on our website, Mosley Wealth Management, and you see where we're teaching them and you show up, they're complimentary, so you can come. Laugh at this joke anyway, or seem puzzled, but this guy came to us, and Rebecca, I say he only had $120,000. And everybody went, oh, and he got laid off. Oh. And then I say, is he in trouble? Yes. Okay. Oh, by the way, he worked for a governmental agency, and he's got an $11,500 a month pension.
A month?
A month.
Woohoo.
He's got 3 rental houses that clear him about $6,000 a month. Okay?
Nice.
And he paid into Social Security, so he gets 85% of a full Social Security. The guy's making over $20,000 a year, and he's got a budget.
You mean a month?
A month, you're
Yeah.
right. $20,000 a month, and he's got a budget of about $3,000 a month at the max.
Wow.
So then I ask the question again, is he in trouble?
No.
No, because he's got income, and when you retire, your income is far more important than your lump sum, which we've always focused on.
Absolutely. I was just going to say that's one of your focuses. There's kind of parts, kind of like legs on a table.
Right.
You need your income, you got your Social Security, and then you have all these different. Is that kind of where you start with someone? You pull up their ss.gov or whatever it is to see on that piece at least for Social Security? Is that how you start that conversation?
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's got to be where you start, because if you are entitled to Social Security, and I'm taking an average across the entire country, if you are entitled to Social Security, depending on what survey you look at, you're going to have 40 to 43% of your income is going to come from Social Security. So that's a big chunk.
Yeah.
I mean, look at it the other way. If you don't have it, you're only going to get 57 to 60%, and most people would not be happy with that.
Yeah.
So you need to make sure, and the requirements on Social Security, I mean, there's a lot of gotchas in there. There's a lot of things that just don't seem right. Like people say, well, you never know how long they're going to pay Social Security. I had a guy came in one time, you never know how long those suckers are going to pay it. So I'm turning 62 and I'm going to go down and I'm going to turn mine on. So I began to talk to this guy like we interview people, and your story is your story, and when you come in to talk to us, we need to know your situation. So he began to say, you know, I'm making $125,000 a year. That just blew it right there. He didn't even know it.
Why?
Because when I got around, when you're 62, you can access the lower amount of Social Security, about 25% less than your full retirement age.
Okay.
But when you're 62 until your full retirement age, which is 66, 67, or somewhere in between, you can only make, in 2022, you can only make $19,560 in the whole year, or for every $2 over that, you pay back $1 of Social Security.
See, it's so complicated. Like, how do regular people even understand this and fathom? You know, I mean, that's why they need the professionals, obviously.
Well, you need a professional, because they're great people, I'm sure, that work at the Social Security office, but they're not there to give you planning advice. They're there to turn on your Social Security, to answer the question that you ask them, and they're probably not going to come up with other ideas or warn you about things. If you come in and say, I'm turning my Social Security on at 62, they're probably going to put a piece of paper in front of you, have you sign it. 2 months later, you're going to get a Social Security check, and then when you file your income tax the next year, you're going to realize you made $125,000 like this guy, and you paid it all back. So taking, and by the way, people say, well, I'm retired. Should I go ahead and turn on my Social Security? I don't know until I look at your situation. What if there were other things you could draw from? Because Social Security is going to go up in the initial payout 8% a year all the way until you're 70. I'm not advocating that you blindly just turn it on and never look at it. I'm just never look at what all your options are, because there are people who have these Social Security maximization workshops, and they don't really want to teach you about Social Security. They just say, hey, if you wait till you're 70, you'll make more money. Right. But I had a lady came in one time and she was $400 a month short. She started crying.
Oh.
Rebecca, I asked her, I said, are you okay? And she said, yeah, I'm okay. I'm just $400 a month short. I said, that's okay. That's why you're here.
Yeah.
And so we started looking through her stuff, and I got to her Social Security statement, and I asked her, I said, how long have you been taking $1,400 a month on Social Security? She said, I haven't. I said, why not? She said, because I went to a Social Security maximization workshop.
They told you to wait to get more money.
They told me to wait until I'm 70. But I've also had people come in my office. I've been doing this 27 years.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of people in the office, all right? We spray and clean, don't get me wrong, okay? But I had a guy came in one time, and he's coughing. And I say, are you okay? And he said, no, I just came from my doctor, and my doctor told me I have 4 to 6 months to live. I have lung cancer.
Oh, Lord.
I said, what's your question? He said, should I turn on my Social Security?
You're joking.
No, absolutely. I said, no, you need to, I almost said run. I said, you need to go to Social Security and turn it on. The guy lived 4 months and he passed away. So your health situation, whether you need it, whether your Social Security needs to be turned on first, or maybe your
Yeah.
spouse's Social Security, if you're married, needs to be turned on first, because the larger Social Security stays when one of you passes away. It's called the breadwinner provision. There are all these things. We're talking about income in retirement. There are all these things that go into that huge chunk called Social Security. Now, if you pick up the phone and you dial 866-709-1462, I have to tell you, I do not work for the Social Security Administration. But I will also tell you that I understand the Social Security rules that can help give you options as to how you might be able to get the most out of your Social Security. But you've got to call us, 866-709-1462. It's part of our overall retirement blueprint that we offer at the very best price ever, at no charge to you, so we can give you a plan for living out your retirement years with the right income coming in.
Absolutely. All right, we save about 10 spots each week because we want to make sure that you can get a reservation with Tom. So call that number and have your calendar ready for us if you don't mind. And stay with us more right after this.
How confident are you in your current financial plan? Do you know with certainty how the recent market volatility will affect your future hopes and dreams? How much are you paying in taxes? And how much are you losing to unnecessary high fees? You didn't work to save this money so that you could spend your time worried in retirement. Now is the time to take charge of your finances so you can feel confident about your future. Call in during the next 30 minutes of today's show only to set up an absolutely complimentary, no obligation, full-blown financial review that will result in your own customized written plan that we're giving away complimentary to the first 10 people who respond. We'll start with a full-blown analysis of what you already have. By running a report to untangle how much you are currently paying in fees, how you're allocated for risk, and what it's costing to work with your current advisor. Next, we'll identify your goals. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Where do you want to go, and who do you hope to go there with? Is your current financial plan set up to get you there without mishap? Let's design a roadmap to create a financial plan you can follow with confidence. Get the piece that so many people are missing from their retirement. Find out how having a written plan can make a difference to your retirement dreams. Call now to schedule your complimentary, no obligation, full-blown financial review today.
All right, thanks for staying with us. We always learn so much from Tom Mosley. We call him the professor here at the studio. We were talking about Social Security, how it's one piece, a very important piece of your income. What are some other income building places where we can kind of mine for that income?
Okay, great question. The other place you go to, that's your other assets, your other funds, whatever you've built up, either in IRAs or 401ks or in the stock market, maybe a brokerage account. All of those things add up as well, and that's your money that's free and clear that you can access to. And I want to give all of those of you who should be named status quo, I want to give all of you permission to tell you that a lot of people do what you're likely to do if your middle name is status quo and not do a single thing. Because what a lot of people do is they're so used to, after 40 years of accumulating the lump sum that we talked about last time, they're so used to accumulating that lump sum that they never change anything when they go into retirement.
That's right.
And they come in, and I can read these people right off the bat because they're 69 years old. They've got limited amounts of money. They don't have a plan. They've got statements, but they don't, because statements are what a lump sum is calculated on.
Yeah.
And they don't have a plan, and they sit down and they say, Tom, what's the stuff that you got that's making the most money right now? What's your hottest stock tip? What do you think about Bitcoin? Well, first of all, I'm a regulated security officer. I'm a registered investment advisor, and I can't give you any kind of advice, input, positive or negative, on an unregulated security. Okay? So that's what I tell them, because that's the absolute truth. But they just keep doing the same thing they've always done. They keep in the accumulation bucket. Now, you can put all of your eggs in one basket. And if you choose to do that, because you've been with your big box guy for a long time and one time he took you golfing. I mean, if that's great for you and you don't really have a written plan, all you've got is statements, then let me encourage you to do at least one thing. Pull out at least whatever amount you're comfortable with and put it in your money market at your bank. That's called your emergency fund. Any good financial advisor worth their weight in air is going to tell you to have an emergency fund. Because just like right now, if your emergency fund was a part of your accumulation bucket, and that's the only bucket you've got, and you haven't changed anything, and you're real proud of the 13-year run-up, how's it look since December 28th when the market turned down?
That's right.
Be honest. Look at a statement. Don't make a guess. Look at it. Parentheses on your statement are not a good thing.
Yeah.
That means a loss. And sometimes they may even make them in red, but they try to get all the companies to quit doing that, because if you put it in red, it really makes it stand out that you've had a loss. So you can do nothing. Let me tell you one other thing you can do if you still want to have it all at risk and you don't want to insure any of your income so that you have guaranteed insured income that increases over your lifetime to take care of inflation for the rest of your life. We're going to talk about that in the next segment. But if you still want to be in that accumulation bucket, let me encourage you to do one more thing. And we've got a few clients that just insist on us working with them, and we do this with them. We take about 3 to 5 years of what they need for income. Let's say you've got $800,000 in your accounts, okay? Then you put $50,000 in that emergency fund. It's in the bank. It's there. It's going to be there. And let's say you need $3,000 a month times, 5 years is $180,000. Let's put 200 of the 750 that's left. Let's put that in a very conservative bucket and draw your income off of that. It's going to make a little. It's not going to lose very much, but it's going to be there. That would leave you, okay? That would leave you $550,000 if I'm doing my math on the fly here, right? You can leave it in the market. You
to
can
continue
be happy
to grow, and that's your
continue
compounding
to tumble
interest.
and turmoil and up and down and to ride the roller coaster over there. And then when you have a bad year, let that bucket over here go down to 4 years or 3 years, even if it's 2 bad years. You still got a 3-year margin. But if you have a good year, like some of the years we've had recently where you did 20% or 25%, then rake off the top of that and replenish
Gotcha.
that first income bucket. That is a way to do it. But here's what I want you to understand. All of your money, except for what's in the money market, is still at risk. It's still got some level of risk without any guarantees against the bottom, against the floor, against the downturn. Now, there are a lot of people who say, well, I'm so used to the market, that's what I'd like to do. Well, we make it really clear that that's one of the options that we can do for you. 3 to 5 years over here in a very conservative income bucket, a totally conservative emergency fund, and the rest of your money, then play the stock market. Let's ride it according to your risk level. And it is a plan that fits in the Monte Carlo model that all the big boxes use, and it'll give you about an 85 or 90% chance of not running out of money. Did you hear that? An 85 or a 90% chance generally of not running out of money. Okay, so that's why we like to use the insured bucket. I'll tell you about that next time. But look, if something I've said, you say, well, I need to talk to somebody that works at Mosley Wealth Management if that's what they do. That's what we can do for you. But you've got to pick up the phone, give us a call, 866-709-1462. We can look at your situation, where you are now in your lump sum, and we can show you how you can turn that with a portion of it into guaranteed increasing income for as long as you live and your spouse lives if you're married. And then if you pass away, both of you passed away early, if there's any balance there, that goes to your heirs. You're protected. You get all of your growth and all of your principal back. Plus, if you outlive it, get a load of this. You keep getting guaranteed increasing income for the rest of your life. I'll tell you how that works when we come back.
Absolutely, and call that number for your complimentary retirement blueprint. Stay with us. More with Tom Mosley next.
As a good saver, you've been putting away money during your working years. Studies find that the biggest fear of retirees is running out of money. Market volatility isn't just the downward movement of stock prices, it's the size and frequency of change. The more dramatic the ups and downs, the higher the volatility. This can put savers who are newly retired or a few years away from being retired at greater risk. Today's generation of retirees is not receiving traditional pensions as our parents or grandparents did. Instead, we have retirement accounts such as 401ks or 403bs. These accounts typically expose your money to market risk. The last thing you want right before retirement is to lose a portion of the money you need for income. But how do you turn these accounts into a retirement income? Is it safe to keep all your retirement money sitting in the stock market? The last thing you want is to lose a portion of the money you need for income due to market loss. By working with a financial professional, you can learn how to turn a portion of your savings into an income stream for life and income for the life of your spouse if you're married. We all have moments in our lives when we wish we had taken action sooner. Don't let procrastination reign on your retirement parade. Act now before it's too late. Please call our office to set up your no-cost, no-obligation retirement income review today.
All right, thanks for staying with us. So, of course, if you want to retire, of course, everyone, we all need to pay our bills. We need guaranteed income. I know, Tom, you work so many different strategies and use many different tools. So let's talk about that.
Let's talk about guaranteed income. In fact, what if there was a product that was guaranteed you'd never lose a penny? Okay? And when the market index grew, you got part of the market index. In other words, if the market grew 15%, you might get 8, 10, or 12% of that.
Yeah.
Okay? And what if when you started taking out of it a certain amount of money each year, that was guaranteed to also grow according to that index? Wow. You mean I won't lose anything, it'll be up or it'll be sideways, and even when I start taking money out of it, it will either grow or it will stay the same, even in bad years. I mean, think about it this year, even in bad years. And then if I pass away, that goes to my spouse for as long as he or she lives, if you're married. And if there's still money in that, it goes to my heirs, and we don't lose anything. Like if you take a pension, which is similar to this.
Yeah.
And if you take a pension and you and your husband have a pension and you guys decide to go to Bora Bora and your plane goes down before it gets to Papeete to get on the little prop plane to go over to Bora Bora, then your kids, if you've taken that for 2 months, your kids generally get nothing from the pension. It all goes back to the pension fund because it's based on those 2 lives.
I didn't know that. I don't have a pension, so it's okay, but go on.
Yeah, so that's why a lot of people, that's why companies offer a lump sum, because then you're able to take it out and still control your money. Control's a good thing. Your kids didn't think that when they were teenagers, but your control is a good thing when it comes to your money, your assets in retirement. You say, well, what kind of product is that? It's a product that probably gets the worst publicity of anybody. One guy runs around and says he hates them. It probably gets the worst publicity of all, and it's called an annuity. And by the way, the pension that you don't have,
yes,
if you did have one, most of those are backed up by an insurance company where the company has put the money into an annuity. Annuity comes from the same word as annual. It means that it pays you out on a regular basis for as long as you live. Now, here's what I think is the best thing of all. I've been in this business 27, almost 28 years. I've had people who put their money into a particular type of annuity and they've run out of their money, spent all of their money and the growth. It's come to them as income. You know what? They still get a check. They still get an increasing check every single month because an annuity is insurance against you living too long. When you're young, you buy term insurance in case something happens to you. The kids can get educated, the house can be paid off, your salary will be replaced somewhat by the term insurance. Well, the same company that sells that against you living too short of a period of time sells an annuity against you living too long of a period of time. And that's why, and it's not any kind of annuity, because I want to...
Yes, you've taught me some are good, some are great, some you don't want to touch.
Well, there's a famous lady named Susie who says in her book that if you ever run into anybody who's going to try to sell you a variable annuity, pack up your stuff and leave, because they're doing it for themselves and not you. Because the fees on those, we just ran an analysis last week. A guy came in, he's becoming a client. He's got 2 variable annuities. Their fees are both over 4% within those variable annuities. I mean, that's why he can't make a lot of money, because he's in a variable means that if the market goes down, you go down. This is called a particular type of fixed, in that it's fixed with the market. It will not go down. I like to joke around when you have years where you don't make anything, but you don't go down, and the market goes down 25%, about like it is right now.
Yeah.
0 is your hero. Because how would it be if you went back to December and you hadn't lost anything in that lump sum retirement fund that's in that brokerage account right now? You'd be very happy that you hadn't lost a penny. That's what a fixed, in that it's not going to lose anything, indexed, and it's tied to the market growth, and it's an annuity that will pay you, as we've talked about in this segment, for as long as you live. You want to find out about it. You don't want to be closed-minded and let somebody else make a decision for you. You want to, if I were working for somebody who says, we don't do that, we don't look at that, and I know that sometimes that's 25 or 30% of all the money that's out there that's coming in for people for income, I'd be concerned about working with a company that was closed-minded and was proud of the fact that they don't find anything that 25 or 30% of the people find is a really good deal.
Right.
A really good deal.
But you're independent. That's the difference. You don't have to sell these products.
Right.
You can look all over the world and pick whatever is best for your people in their individual situation. That's the difference.
You wouldn't go into a Ford car dealership and ask them to give you all of the positive traits of a Toyota Camry.
That's right. And they wouldn't even tell you to go down the road and get something better. They have to tell you that Ford.
They'd say, could I have your wife's phone number? I think you need to go. Look, you need to go see somebody is what they would say. You need to go see us. You need to come see us so that you can get an unbiased, unfiltered, an evaluation of all the products that are out there that might be right for you. I mean, if your risk level is tremendously low and you're scared as you can be because of the way your income, your brokerage account has gone down this year, how would it be if you hadn't lost a penny in that account? That might be something that appeals to you. Or if you just want to take a chunk of what you've got and secure it, give us a call. It'll be part of an entire retirement blueprint. The number 866-709-1462. It's on the screen, so's the barcode, 866-709-1462.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Tom. And thank you at home for joining us. Get that peace of mind. Get that second look. It's complimentary, no charge. Thank you for joining us. And remember to join Tom on his website and one of his educational seminars. See you next time.